Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 401 Files. It's an absolute pleasure, as I always say, to be joined by so many like-minded people. I've had a few intermittent internet issues on the run to this live, so hopefully it holds out and we can get a good show underway. And please, if you do have any stories that you want to share, you can come onto the live and chat to me personally and share those with the rest of the channel. So just follow the link that will be in the video's description or in the comments below, and we'll get you on. You'll pop up in the back room and we'll be able to have a chat. There's a few things that I want to mention before while we just wait, sorry, for people to come in. One of them is that we are now on Discord. My brother set up a Discord, which is like an open chat for like-minded people. So if you are interested in talking to other people about these phenomena every day, whenever, any time of day, then please do get yourself over to Discord as well and join us there on the 401 Files. Um, as well, a massive thank you to all the admins over there that are running things in the background because they're trying to keep everything organized, categorize all the different phenomena, extraterrestrials, UFOs, the paranormal, etc. And they're doing an amazing job as well. So you guys that are over there on Discord working in the background, thank you so much. It doesn't go unnoticed. It's really, really appreciated. Last night's live, if any of you guys missed that, you can go over to Truth Proof on YouTube, which is Paul Sinclair's YouTube channel. And me and Paul, I think, spoke for about an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours. And we touched upon a whole range of different phenomena. We talked about Bempton Cliffs and some of the things that are happening there, some of my personal experiences growing up, and like I said, a whole host of other strange things as well. So go check that out. That was last night's live over on Truth Proof. Um, and Olivia, we had another video that was recently posted by a young girl called Olivia. I say young girl, she's roughly about my age, to be honest. But she came forward to the 401 Files with an audio recording of her story growing up in a haunted house, which a lot of you received really, really well. I thought when I heard that story, it was terrifying just because it seemed so genuine. And I could relate to a lot of the things that she was talking about living in that house. So if you haven't checked that out, please do go back through the videos. It was like the third video I posted or something like that. And the good news is Olivia has already said that she will come on one of the lives, and we can, we can dive into her story a bit more, ask her a few more questions as well, and it'd be nice just to get a face-to-face interaction with Olivia and try and find out what the hell was going on in that house because that was truly, truly terrifying. Um, Yeah, tomorrow people have asked about the documentary. I'm getting back out tomorrow as it is to start filming for the documentary, and hopefully I can get this thing wrapped up by the middle of next year. Definitely by the middle of next year. I need to pull my finger out. There's been a few things holding me back. One of which was my laptop was broken. I couldn't do any more work for a few months, but that's all now sorted, and I'm back on the road with lots of new great ideas to put into this documentary and hopefully get that to you guys as soon as possible. So I've got people now queuing up in the back, which is great. Thank you. My brother Gaz is the moderator tonight. He's working in the background, making sure that everything runs smoothly, and trying to encourage you guys that have stories to come on and talk to me. So let's get a few of these people on. First, I'm just going to introduce Andy. Andy, are you okay, mate?
Yep, evening, Ben.
Good, good. It's nice to have you on, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, really, really good. Thank you. So have you just come on to have a general chit chat, or have you got a story or an experience you want to share?
Well, I just want to say to everyone that I'm one of the mods on the Discord channel. So
Yeah, that's right.
after
Thank
the
you, Andy.
stories,
I did point you
no, you're
out,
welcome.
so thank you so much.
If anyone wants to drop me a message afterwards, by all means.
Yeah.
I have got quite a few, but I don't want to take up obviously the whole night because obviously you've got other people coming on. But I'll share one cryptid one and one paranormal one.
Yeah, definitely, mate. You feel free. You from the UK, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm from a place called Thornaby.
Yeah.
But I live in Newcastle. Now.
Yeah. Sweet. So you want
So
to start with the cryptid sighting first, mate, and then we'll
yeah,
go
I'll
from there.
start with the cryptid one, mate, just because it's the quickest one.
Yeah.
So back in 2000 and would have been 2010 when I was
Yeah.
in the army. I was based on Dartmoor, and we were there for maybe 6 months. I was doing a beat up to go onto a course, and at the time we'd maybe been there. It must have been close to the 6 month mark. We were close to leaving.
Yeah.
And it was on a Saturday. It was on a weekend, so obviously we were off for the weekend. And there was maybe about 10 of us and we were getting ready to go out and just go down to Exeter just for the day. And the sergeant came in and said, we need to get back at the uniform and get our patrol order ready because someone had went missing on the moor. I think if memory serves, I think he was a runner, like one of those ultra runners, and he was running
So
over there.
It wasn't one of your guys. It was just like a normal
No,
civvy.
it was a civilian, mate. Yeah. And because obviously we knew the moor like the back of our hand, they said to us, "Oh, will you aid in helping find him?" So we get changed and we just went off in twos. There's 5 different groups of us. Anyway, it wasn't my team who found him. It was another 2 lads who I knew who found him, and they brought him back, put him in the ambulance back like where they have the staging area set up. And when the 2 lads come back, obviously we're asking naturally what happened with the guy, you know, where'd you find him, that type of thing. And the story they portrayed now makes a lot more sense, but at the time I didn't know about the British Bigfoot phenomenon or British cryptids in general. I still thought it was very much a like the rest of the world type deal. So anyway, they came back and they said that they'd found him, and they'd found him by mistake. So as they'd walked past, they'd booted his foot, and he'd made a noise, and he was totally covered in mud and in leaves, like totally enveloped. Like they couldn't see him at all. Different types of vegetation.
Was this guy conscious at the time or unconscious?
So when as they kicked him, he then woke up and made a noise. Yeah. Whether he was unconscious before that, but I don't know. So they kicked him and woke up and they've scraped all the leaves off in the mud. And as they were scraping this, like pulling him out of the earth and out of all the vegetation stuff, obviously the natural question was, why have you covered yourself with leaves and with mud? Like it's hard to find you. And his response was, a big hairy man covered me in mud and leaves and said that will keep me warm until someone arrives to get you.
Wow, that's insane. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah. And did the guy obviously seem genuine at the time? He wasn't intoxicated or anything like that. He seemed like
no. I mean, when he got back to the ambulance, when he got back to the ambulance, Ben, obviously the paramedics put him down to him being dehydrated and that type of stuff. Said he was probably hallucinating, that type of thing, because he'd been on the area for a while. But the lads who found him said he was terrified. Like to them he seemed genuine. Like to them he seemed like it was 100% true. Whatever he saw or the story he was telling at least was believable.
Yeah. What area was this, Andy?
On Dartmoor.
Dartmoor. You see, that's the thing as well, is Dartmoor does have a lot of reports from that area anyway about cryptids and other weird things going on.
It is a spooky place.
Yeah. Yeah, and even with the David Paulides stuff, the missing 411 stories, we hear about these children that make very similar claims as well. Like they'll go missing and end up miles away from where they were last reported seen. And weeks start to pass in some cases, and you think that there's no way on earth that this child could be alive still. But then when they come back, they tell stories of these bear-like creatures covering them in, like you just said there, foliage and some other stuff to keep them warm and safe. So it does make you think, doesn't it? Like who is out there doing this and helping these people that wandering off the beaten track? It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And I kick myself now because I think if I knew back then what I know now, I probably would have looked out for more stuff whilst I was there.
Yeah. Well, that's like me. I mean, I was in the army as well, mate. And, a lot of the times when you're on these exercises and stuff, you're in that military mindset. You're not really thinking cryptid. I mean, it might have been the same for you, but for me, a lot of my interest appeared when I got out of the army. I was never really on solid
definitely,
thinking paranormal or anything. So, yeah, that's an amazing story. I'd love to get you back on as well and talk some more. What's the paranormal one that you've got?
Oh, so I mean, I've got a few paranormal ones, mate, but the paranormal one that we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah,
I'm a bit like Olivia's story that she came out with that you put on the channel.
Olivia's story.
Yeah. So when she put that one out and she went and told many people, I've never told anyone this one because I think it's on par with your alien one when you see the alien at Cub Scouts. Like the story is that crazy and that far out there that I want to come on and talk about it because it's probably going to be the most well received here. It's probably
Yeah.
why I haven't spoke about it outside of here. Um, anyway, yeah. So growing up, I only lived in two houses. So my mum and dad still live in the house that I lived in for most of my childhood and adult till left and joined the army. But the first house we lived in was a little two bed house in Thornaby. And we moved from there when I was about 6, and the incident happened right before we moved. So the story I'll tell that happened, and then maybe 2-3 weeks later, maybe we moved. We didn't stay there that long after.
Yeah.
So I would have been
Do
there about
you know if
6.
that was due to the experiences? Was that due to what was going on in the house, or was that just something unrelated? The reason you
No,
moved?
mate. So we moved purely for this one reason,
Yeah.
for this one story, because it kind of spooked everyone to the point where. So yeah, so I would have been about 5, maybe verging on 6, maybe not very old. And I had this story is mental. So I woke up in the middle of the night, as like you do when you're 5 and 6, and I've turned out of my bedroom door to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
So as you would come out of bedroom door, mate, and turn right, the toilet would have been right in front of you. But next to the toilet was like, like a little alcove where a window would be, like a little indent, like a little U-shaped bit.
Yeah.
And we used to keep the washer basket there. So as you come out of my bedroom door, mate, and turned right, it might be maybe, I don't know, 5 foot maybe to the bathroom door, maybe a little bit less, something like that.
Yeah.
And as I've turned to go to the toilet, the only way I can describe it is the devil stepped out of the alcove.
Yeah. What
In
did
the
this
house.
thing look like? When
So,
you say
it was
devil,
stood
what?
behind. It was stood behind the wall
Yeah.
that goes in like a U shape, and
Yeah.
it stepped out of the alcove. So obviously I've stopped like dead in my tracks, and I'm terrified looking at this thing. And it started laughing, and then it reached out to grab me.
Yeah.
But obviously it would have been about 2-3 foot away from me. So I've turned and I've bolted straight into my mum and dad's room. And I think I'm waking my mum and dad up, and obviously my dad's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
I've just seen the devil," and my mum was like, "Don't be daft. You've had a nightmare. You haven't seen anything." But honest to God, Ben, on my life, I was awake because I was out of bed and I was walking
Yeah.
to the bathroom. So
What
I
time of
woke
night
them up
was
and I
this?
was like, "I've seen the devil."
Was this
And
night
my mum
or
was
early
like,
morning?
"You've seen nothing. You've had a nightmare, that type of thing." And then my dad turned around, I'll never forget it, and said, "How does he know what the devil is?" So obviously I was only
Yeah.
5, maybe going on 6, and I didn't. Well, I don't think it was ever explained to me when I was that little.
Yeah.
And then obviously for the rest of the night, I slept in my mum and dad's bedroom, and then like I say, mate, after that it was maybe 2-3 weeks before we left, and then obviously we moved into the house that my mum and dad are still in now.
What time of night was this when you saw this thing?
Oh, I admit, Ben, my thing's gone off there.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can, Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. I heard everything that you said. Could you hear me at
Oh,
all?
cool. Yeah, go on, Ben. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I was just asking what time of night was that when this happened, or was it early morning?
It would have been night, Ben. So maybe I don't know, mate. It would have been early hours,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Someone just asked a question. Can you still hear me, Andy?
yeah, I'm just waiting to see if my right there we go.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you can email. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked if an official report was made on the cryptid sighting.
Oh, good question, mate. It would have been back in. It would. It was obviously reported, mate, to somebody.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether. Well, definitely not from our point of view, mate. Nothing was put in.
And I guess
So
if
obviously
it
it came
was,
down
I mean,
from.
yeah, I was going to say, I guess if it was as well at your level, you probably wouldn't have even known about that kind of
Yeah,
thing. Okay, that was brilliant, Andy. Like I said, we will definitely get you back on, mate, to have another chat. 'Cause it's been a real pleasure talking to you, and thank you
yeah,
so much, mate, for all the hard work over on Discord. I really, really do appreciate that.
yeah. No worries, Ben.
Brilliant, mate. You take it easy,
You
and I'll
too,
speak
bud.
to you
Catch
soon.
you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye. So that was Andy there with an amazing story. The first story that he told us there, if it came through clearly enough for you guys, I heard it perfectly fine. But it was retelling a story of when he was in the military, and a runner had gone off the beaten track, gone missing, and because they knew the area really well, they were tasked to go look for this guy, and they found him under some overgrown brush, just lied there basically. And when he came round, he was told that he was informed or instructed to take cover under this foliage to keep warm and safe, which is fascinating by a hairy creature as well, nonetheless. So we hear about these stories all the time. It's very, very fascinating as to what these hairy creatures are and what they're doing out on these moorlands, instructing people to climb under foliage to keep dry and safe. It's absolutely amazing. I'm just going to bring Mick McLaren on. Mick, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really, really good. What be 1 second, Gaz? Have we got Mark Fennell? Is he still around? Keeps coming on and off in the background. Mark, there you are. Hey, Mark, you okay?
Hey, how you doing, Ben?
Yeah,
Hi,
I'm
Matt.
good. So yeah, Mick, we met at the conference. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you last week.
Yeah, well, nice meeting you. Yeah.
Yeah, the first time that we've met, you do actually your own investigations a lot similar to what I do, but you operate in a different area. You operate on Winter Hill, which is
Yeah.
yet another location full of strange reports and weird things going on. So do you just want to really quickly tell people about some of the work that you do up on Winter Hill?
Yeah, well, we've got a team together called WIT. It's Winter Hill Investigation Team, and we
Yeah,
go out on the hills. If there's any reports coming in that come to me, then we'll go out there and we'll look around these areas. Not only that, recently I've been doing a bit of a solo camping over there as well, just trying that out on my own. But what we do as a group is we'll get the reports, we'll go to that area, and we'll have a look around that area, and sometimes
yeah,
we go late at night, early at morning, and it's only recently that we've been doing all nighters, um, not only at Winterhill but in other areas near to us.
yeah. So what are the majority of your reports, Mick? Are they paranormal, UFOs, extraterrestrial, or cryptid?
A mixture, of all. We've got what we've termed the Beast of Winterhill, which is something that it started about 2 years ago. That, and it's been very quiet at the moment. We've not had anything, but it started with a report of a couple of lads up there who came across a sheep on the ground that had been ripped open. And short story, they sort of got growled at, and they were walked back to the van, sort of thing. Like it was surrounding them as they were going back down to the van. They saw red eye shine. In the past, we've had a woman up there who was followed down, similar sort of thing. She was followed down by someone that growled at her. We've had what we think is the same beast further down, which was a morning sighting, where somebody said they saw it running across a field, and it was as big as a cow, but it had bendy legs. It looked almost like a giant Rottweiler, not Rottweiler, a bulldog, like
Yeah.
with bendy legs and running off, but it about the same size as a cow. So we've
Wow.
been like investigating that for the last 2 years. I've had people coming forward and reporting about it. we do get a lot of UFO activity up there. I've seen one myself where it was just like a light that had just appeared and it moved. You would have thought it was a plane at first, apart from when it to the mast, because we've got the transmitter mast up there, which stands out. Everyone knows around here. You know, if you say a winter hill, first thing they think about is this mast up there. And it was moving over there, and then all of a sudden it like imploded and disappeared.
Asking what you're doing. That's all.
So you know, like, we've got a lot of hauntings as well. I mean, we've had a report within the last 2 years of a woman who was told us when she was on a field when she was about 14. She was there with a friend, and she saw. At first, she had like horse hooves, and then as she turned around, she went into a mist, and there was a horseman there. She calls it the headless horseman because it didn't have, you know, it didn't have its head missing. It had mist all surrounding around its head, so she didn't see the face and head. And she saw that rearing up, and she said it was almost while she was in this, while she was in this fog, it was as though she was in another place. You know, as soon as the fog had lifted, it was back to a nice summer's evening. So we got a lot of different reports of that. We've had, I mean, even Steve Meary himself has had an account up there of a banshee moving across the road. So there's all sorts of things happening up there.
Yeah, and as the area Winter Hill got a rich history in like conflict, battles, things like that. Has there been a lot of
we've got a lot of burial mounds as well. And there's not as much battle areas, but it's mostly burial mounds, like sacred areas. We've got something up there called the Pike Stones, which is a burial mound which is similar to the ones in the Cotswolds. It's the only one out of the Cotswolds up here this far up, and we've got quite a few around that area. We've got burial mounds called Roundloaf, which seems to have ley lines crossing through it, going into all different directions, even one from east to west coast, but running straight through this one.
Yeah. And is there anything in terms of like military presence, any bases or anything like that, Mick, around that area?
We have got one. It's not really a military base. It's one of we don't really know what it is. It was part of BA Systems, and it's in a place called Epe. I'm unsure of the name of it, but it was well known. At one time, there was a mystery behind it, saying, you know, like, because it's all underground and it's got these shutters where they had trains going in at one time. And they were saying things about, you know, it was an underground base like for trains. But we do know that they made it had something to do with nuclear warheads that were either being stored there or they had some component there that they were using. And they were keeping that out of the way. It's not used anymore as we know it, but there are, you know, when I've been overlooking, you know, you do see like security walking around, and they don't like you going near the gate. I've tried that, and they don't like you.
They get a bit hands-on, a bit aggressive.
Yeah, definitely.
So what one story, Mick, would you say stands out to you in your years of investigating? There must be one story that you think actually that was strange. I know it's difficult when you deal with so many, because when I get asked that question, I hate that. But is there one that's really made you, you know, question reality, basically?
Well, it's the what we call the Birdman, a place called Wigan Flashes. Is a fellow called Paul. He goes there. He's been going there every year for the last 40 odd years, and he goes feeding the birds. And he has a place where he has a bench where he meets another friend, and they'll sit there and have a chat and feed the birds while they're there. But he goes around. He's got bird feeders all over this area he goes seeing, and he had. One day we were walking along and this woman came running over to him who he knew because he knows quite a few people over there because he'd been going there that long and they've all got used to him. And she came running over to him and, like saying she was like worried. He said she looked really worried. She looked as though some fellow were mithering her. That's his first thought. And then she said, no, it's she just seen somebody in bushes, like she saw this like gorilla type thing stood there but faded into the bushes and disappeared, which shocked her, like to the point of going finding him because she knows he goes every day morning. But she heard before this happened, she heard an humming noise like an electrical substation, that sort of humming noise, but it was coming from overhead, and then she saw this thing and ran to Paul. But Paul had a similar experience where he was stood feeding the ducks, and he said all of a sudden it like sort of went dark as there were clouds just going over the sun. But at the point with the woman as well, and at the point with Paul, everything went quiet. All the birds stopped singing. Is were late on an evening. It was a nice, I think he said it was a nice autumn evening he was there. And yeah, all of a sudden everything went quiet. What felt like, like a cloud coming over it. But as he looked up, the sky was normal. There was nothing there. There was no clouds, nothing. But he heard this humming noise. And he said he followed the sound going over. And it sort of like what went down the water course. He didn't see anything at that time in the bushes or anything walking around, any dark shadows or anything. He just felt that, but he felt all the hairs on his arms, back of his neck, all coming on, standing on end. And from the same place, I had another fellow who got in touch with me, who he used to work at a glass factory around there, what's closed down now. And what they used to do when in the job, they used to do the job and then they'd have a bit of time spare, and they used to go for a walk around the flashes. And he and his mate were walking like down this path, and he said they heard footsteps and they heard something moving. But before this, a couple of nights before, they'd gone out and they'd heard like growling, and they were just thinking, it's a dog. That time, you're talking a good 20 to about 20 years ago, and they just thought it was a dog. They were walking down. And then anyway, the day after they were out there again walking, they heard footsteps coming behind, and they thought, oh, it's a mate's from work. They'll quickly hide in the bushes and scare them. But what happened was this. He said it was a full moon, and it was lit up a bit, and this thing walked in front of him. But at first he thought it was a fellow with a. They used to wear like cowboy jackets at one time, so tassels hanging down on either side. Yeah. And he said he thought it was somebody quite big who was wearing that. Now his mate was quite big as well. He was a bodybuilder, and he was thinking, it were even bigger than him. This thing, and he said all of a sudden it lifted its arms up, and it started like. In a low tone, like moaning, going to a growl and then going to a scream. And he said at that point, his eyes started watering. And he just felt, like sickly and thought he was going to be sick. And his mate was going through the same thing. And
what did they describe this creature as?
So, pardon, sorry.
What did they describe the creature looking like?
Well, that was it. It was all silhouetted.
Yeah.
And then the noise that came out, and as his eyes were getting back to normal, he looked up and it wasn't there.
Wow.
But yeah, he thinks it was some sort of British Bigfoot, like a woodlouse in
Yeah.
there, but something really, really big and hefty. Because, like I said, his mate were about 6 foot, and he was a big muscle. He had great big muscles, and he was a fisherman as well. And after that night, he never went out fishing again because he used to do night fishing around there. Not
Yeah.
only that, he wouldn't talk about it as well with his mate. And he told me this just last year. He was telling me about it, that it happened to him, and he said he was so pleased to get this out and talk to someone about it, because he'd not spoken to someone about this. He kept it to himself all these years.
Yeah, well, that's usually the pattern that people follow when they've had such a traumatic experience like that. I mean, the guest that
Yeah,
we just had before, he mentioned that he's not spoken about his encounter for that very reason. So it's nice that we can get people like yourself on Mick, to retell these stories and open people's eyes, because these stories are real. People are experiencing these strange things here in the UK, and the more that we speak about it, the more that people like yourself come on and pass these stories forward. People will start to realize this isn't just me. This isn't me out there, trying to gain subscribers and likes. This is really happening to not just me, people like yourself, and people that come to you with their stories. So, yeah, Mick, thank you so much. I don't know if you've got to be off, Mick. If you want to wait around, I'll happily keep you in the chat. I'm just going to bring
yeah, I
Mark.
can hang around. Yeah,
Brilliant. I'll keep you on, and I'll bring Mark Fennell on now. Mark, you there?
I'm here. How you doing, Ben?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Sorry, a bit of a delay, I think.
No worries, mate. Can you hear me okay, though?
Yeah,
The
I can
sound's
hear you
okay?
fine. Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
So, yeah, just for anyone that doesn't know, Mark appeared on one of my previous videos. We actually two, on it, Mark. We've been to a place called Cannock Chase, which is
Right.
notorious here in the UK for black-eyed children sightings, cryptids of all types, UFOs, and everything else in between. Me and Mark actually went to Cannock Chase, and we spent 2 days there investigating, which was brilliant. And then Mark actually came to the North Yorkshire Moors, where I investigate, and spent a night wild camping with me on the moors, which was again another great video. So
Yeah.
Mark's got a fascinating story, and got involved with all these cryptid stories and the unexplained through something that happened to him. How old was you at the time, Mark? I'll let you jump straight into this story, mate. You tell it better than me. Obviously, it's your story. So
13. I think I was 13 at the time. It's
yeah,
going back that long, but yeah, I remember it as though it happened yesterday.
yeah,
When you're a kid at that age, you do everything to pass the time. On this occasion, I was in the local woods to the village I lived. We made an assault course through the woods, me and a friend of mine. And as kids do, they just try things out, running one end to the other, see if it works fine. But on this occasion, we ran from right from the start to the end of the assault course, and then we noticed something on the path to our left, and it wasn't far away. The path, probably about 15 foot max. It's not a far distance at all. In fact, could be sooner than that. It could be 12 foot. But we noticed it, and I was hoping it was a person walking the dog. And I know in your gut it wasn't. It's something else. But you're trying to judge your mind, thinking, what really is it? What is this that I'm looking at? And it got into a park clearing, and that's when we both realised, me and a friend of mine who did the assault course, that it wasn't a person at all. It was covered in hair, head to foot in hair. Couldn't see his face for the shadows or whatever. I couldn't picture the face, but everything else was just covered in hair from head to foot. It turned, it looked at us. We were in the bush thinking, can it see us? Are we hidden well enough to be out of view? But we knew it's seen us. And it let out this blood-curdling scream towards us, which put shit down me. In fact, I don't remember doing anything running at that point. It was that moment I thought, right, I need to sprint. I need to get out of here. I need to get out of the woods. I didn't care about who I was with. I thought if he's going to catch up with me, that's great, but I'm going to go.
yeah,
And
Mark,
Yeah.
did you have any initial feelings? So when you first saw this thing, before fear set in, before you became scared, did you think like I'm just going back to when I had my experience with this creature in the woods.
Yeah.
I've mentioned many times before that I instantly went to this was a prank. Someone was pulling like the wool over my eyes. Did you have any feelings like that, or was it just sheer terror from the word go?
You see, it's putting it all into brackets of what happened. I don't remember thinking anything else but just to run from that point. But there were no telltale signs beforehand. There's a lot of reports saying that they got this odor. You smell the odor that they're around. I didn't smell anything. There could have been an odor, but my mindset was on what I was looking at. I wasn't really thinking what it smelled like or anything else. I thought, but throughout the whole sighting, I'm trying to make sense of what I was looking at.
Yeah.
I wanted to, put some clarity on exactly what is it. It can't be a Bigfoot. Surely it can't be a Bigfoot. We're in England.
Yeah.
But I never.
Did you see this first, or did your friend see this first, or you see this first?
I think we both noticed it at the same time.
Yeah, well,
because we're both side to side. We're at the same distance from it. But
yeah.
he
He's
thought,
really telling as well that the fact that you didn't stop to have a conversation about what this thing was, you both felt the same way at the same time. That's really telling. It wasn't like you stood around discussing what this thing was. You both had this feeling to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, it did. I mean, we both exchanged a glance, but we only looked at each other once. That was it. And I thought that I know what I'm seeing isn't right. It shouldn't be here. But I don't want to say that because it could have been there forever for all I knew. But I saw it and I'm thinking, right, I'm in the woods. I'm in the middle of this wood. All I wanted to do was get out, and I wanted to see people again. I wanted to see. I don't care who it was. Just wanted to see people, normal people, and just get out of there quick. And we did. We ran, but we never left the wood. We never left the wood. We went to the entrance part of the wood, clarified our thoughts together, thinking, what was that? So we ended up getting sticks at the side, on the pathway, just to get these sticks, and we went on the path to try and find it. To walk back round. We couldn't find anything. But at the end of the woods, there's a cornfield. It's a pre-laid cornfield. It's not high corn at all. It's only about 30 centimeters tall. But we noticed a track that went from there all the way to the wood across the field, which was interesting. It could have been something else. It could have been pareidolia. I don't know, but it looked like that was a pathway where it ran off to, because it wasn't in the woods when we went back. We went around all the woods, the whole pathway, right the way around, trying to find something just to cure my fear, really, of what I witnessed beforehand.
G Star's asking Matt in the comments, where was this located? Where was the location?
Talton Village near Preston.
Put it on.
Yeah. Talton. And I think if I remember correctly, you were telling me that this isn't a place where you would likely expect to see something like this. It's a quiet.
It's a quiet village. It's a farmstead village. It's all there is farms and woods and fields. And I remember speaking.
Do you remember what?
Pardon?
Sorry, Matt. Can you remember what the reaction of this creature was? I mean, I know that you were terrified when you saw this thing, but did the creature react in any way? Like
it just growled at us. It just growled at us. The growl, you felt it in your chest. The growl, right through you. But again, at that point, when it growled, that was the touch. I wanted to get out of there quickly. As soon as it growled, I thought, right, I've disturbed its walk. I don't want to get out of there quick. But no, as for anything else, I don't recall anything else apart from us running very fast through the woods to get out. But it wasn't the creature that I saw wasn't tall.
No.
It was only about 5.5 foot tall. It wasn't tall at all.
He's waving.
Sorry,
got a little boy in the background there, Mark.
A little lad's waving. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see, I can hear as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, everything at that point just came to a halt of what I believed in. Trying to, again, making sense of things to stop my own insanity, really. Trying to find what else could it have been. Could it have been a person in a costume? Then again, if that was a person in a costume, that's another worry.
Was the features on this thing more manly, more human, or more dog-like, more?
Hard to tell. Muscular. It was
more ape-like.
a muscular face. Yeah, very almost gorilla type, muscular type face.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see much of the detail because of the shadow, but you could see certain features like the chin bone, the cheekbones and stuff like that. You could see them. But see, I don't recall anything because all I wanted to do was run at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting one. I've gone back. I've taken my wife there before just to show her the actual woods, and she even said it has a weird atmosphere. That wood, it's a repressive atmosphere.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing, Matt. Thank you so much for sharing that. And like I said, we'll definitely get you back on again, mate, because me and you can talk all day about these things. You know.
Can I just ask, Mark, your mate who you were with that day, do you still have contact with him?
Not much. If I did, yeah, I do have contact with him, but he's gone on the disbelief of it all.
Right.
You know, he's gone estranged really from it all, really. But I could actually message him and ask him about it, and he'd happily say, yeah, it was an odd thing that we saw in the woods that day. But you know, I don't know really. For talking to him, it'd be a bit strange me ringing me in contact with him because we just don't speak anymore.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for that, Mark. Like I said, we can speak all day about these stuff, mate. So I will get you back on for definite. I'm just going to bring in Mark F, and I think he's audio only, which is you know, one of the options for anyone watching tonight. If you do want to come on and you want to keep your anonymity, I can't really say that word, but you can keep the camera off and use audio only. So we'll add Mark F now. Mark, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really well. Thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Have you come for a chat about these strange phenomena, or have you got an experience you want to share? And
what it is, Ben, is myself and my brother have been doing a lot of investigating for quite a few years on different topics.
Yeah.
But something came up, and this area came up because of something. A military friend of mine told me not to go in there, and obviously he didn't take that. It was just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. But you know, I trust him, but I didn't realise the whole connectivity to it all, really. And so we decided that this was going to be a place, and we were going to go into this area, no problem at all. And this was in 2020, so 2020, February, March time, 2020. And if I tell you this, nobody's going to believe me. It's just going to be the maddest story you've ever heard. And this is the reason why I've not even said anything to anybody. I'm very, very nervous. I don't want to.
Hey, buddy, you're doing great. You're speaking really clearly as well. So
Okay,
don't be
cool.
nervous. And you're not going to surprise anyone on this channel, believe me.
Okay, cool. Well, what me and my brother have experienced, and we're very professional people. Nobody wants to discuss with us, really. And I've spoke to some of your friends, Ben.
Yeah.
Okay. People that you know very, very well. And they don't want to discuss it. Okay. So we entered one site of this area. This is one lane going into this area. And it's a completely new area. We've not been into this area at all. Been in many other parts of this whole big area. I'll tell you what the area is called. It's called the Brecks. Maybe some of you people know the Brecks or know of that area, but it's a massive, massive area. Okay. And within that area is a lot of connecting woodland, forest, ancient, new, established, etc. So we enter a lane. It is in lockdown. There is nobody anywhere. Now, because we're professional bodies people, we obviously carry licenses. We're not worried about the police or authorities or anything because we'll just pull round. Okay, so park of vehicles either side of the lane. This is a place where me and my brother meet because it's also on mutual ground. I'm many miles away, he's many miles away, and it's halfway in between. So it's a good area to be in. That's why we started off doing this, after a tip off. So we go into the lane, park the vehicles up left and right. I'm on the left, brother's on the right, and there's a house on the left-hand side, and just adjacent to that, approximately probably about 50, 60 yards up on the left-hand side, there's another property. So there's two properties in this lane. I can tell you exactly what the properties look like, and everything that happened, but we really didn't take any notice at this point because we'd just seen a house. We come to do a specific thing. We entered into that specific area where we wanted to go into, and that was it. Off we went. Now, what happened in that area was remarkable. We'd never experienced anything like all of the evidence that was shown. We were given 16.5-inch tracks, 21-inch tracks, all sorts of different stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of stuff. Lots of evidence was taken, 28 images in total I took myself, which later disappeared, by the way. Okay. And then just
Mike, before you go on, can I just ask you a few little questions?
Yeah.
So when you was in this area you said you was there to investigate. Can I ask if it was for paranormal reasons? Was it more cryptid, or was
missing
you getting
people?
Sorry, what was that?
Missing people.
Missing people. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, you can carry on, Mike. I was just trying to build around the.
No, not at all. Not at all. It was going off something that had happened, which could be explained another time, maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we were obviously searching, and one area went on to another area. So what we were trying to do is just say, right, okay, this site, we'll call this site such and such. We walked over. We're in the same kind of area, massive area. It's 175,000 square acres. It's a massive area. So we've only ever done 6% in 6 years.
Wow.
So we're now in another area, which is just such a bizarre area, but it just went silent, incredibly silent. And we looked around and just noticed all these trees and structures were just mental. I mean, how the trees were put into these trees, there's just no way of doing it unless you had machinery in there or anything else like that, which is not possible.
Yeah.
We took notes of everything that was going on, the sounds. We're very savvy people, observation skills. I'll tell you more probably another time, but we then decided that we'd been in there. It seemed like we'd been in there for quite a long time. So we went for a break. So we walked back from where this area was back towards the vehicles. So we went back to the vehicles. Somebody's just asking a question. Yes, it's in the UK. And go back to the vehicles. My brother says, do you want a coffee? Let's have a coffee, get a coffee on the go. So mindful in the fact that we're in the middle of nowhere, really, and there's nobody in the houses. You can't really see. There's no cars or anything else like that, no lights, nothing. And all of a sudden, a car creeps into the bottom of this lane. It pulls up onto the left-hand side, some 300 yards away from us. Now, in any normal situation, as professional people within this field of observation, we would observe that this person would get out with a dog if he come for a dog, because the dog would be trying to get out of the car because it knows where it is, wanting to get out of the car. Or the person would have come out to get a walk or whatever they were doing, or maybe meet somebody, but it's lockdown. This person just stayed in the car and observed us for quite a period of time. So I said to my brother, I said, can you get an ID on that guy? Because he was round the side of the van. He said, yeah, he's a white guy, 30 years of age, roughly. Yeah. I said, okay. I said, what do you think he's doing? They said, he's just observing us. I said, all right, no worries. So anyway, this went on for a while. I was having a laughing joke saying it's probably a dogger in the lane. It's some in the lane, it's coming to meet somebody who's going to get stretched over the back end of his boot.
Yeah.
No, he got out of the vehicle and started to walk towards us. So I thought, he's obviously coming for a chat or whatever. He didn't come for a chat. He just stared at us and walked past us. So I said, hello, how you doing? You all right? And he didn't really bother. He didn't comment, didn't bother. But what he did do was he went and sat on a bench that was outside this property on the left-hand side. And this property was a very cute, small kind of cottage. It got a privet fence, a picket fence around it with a privet hedge, like a fountain tree in the front garden, crisscross windows, very ornate wood carvings on the fascias and soffits. And I could pick this thing and describe it. The guy sat on a bench outside the property because I thought once he walked past, he didn't want to talk. He would go into the property as you would do. I thought, obviously going to the property. Why he's not?
Was this day or night time, Mark, when this was happening?
This is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so he sits there on this bench, and how my brother's van was adjacent to this, it was kind of like an angle. So there's a pole next to the bench, and there's some evergreen foliage all over the post, over the side of the bench, etc. And you couldn't really see him because of the angle. So we just stood there having this coffee, tucked around the side of the van, thinking, what is this guy doing? He's acting quite strange because his head's now popping up and down from behind the hedge, Ben. Yeah. Yeah. So he pops up, pops back down. So I'm saying to my brother, this is just, he obviously fancies you, bro.
Yeah.
He's going to come back and say, hi, big boys, or whatever. I don't know. I'm just having a laugh with my brother. Yeah. So we then said, well, whatever it is, let's have another cup of coffee. It's getting cold because it's only February, March kind of time. Let's have another coffee and let's go back into that area where it went quiet. Yeah. Yeah. Because that was weird. It was a very, very strange area. As well as everything else we'd seen, it was crazy. But this was something else. This was. So he put the kettle back on, and then the guy got up, and I said to my brother, he's moving. I'm going to go and have a word with him. So I walked round the back of the van. I walked towards him, and he cagily stood back as I came towards him. Now, me and my brother are very big guys. We're quite intimidating guys. All right. So I just said to him, excuse me, do you mind if I ask what you're doing? I said, do you come down here often? Is this like an area where you're walking or? And he said, sorry. I said, well, what are you doing down here? It's locked down, etc., etc. Now, me and my brother at the time are dressed in Miltech spec, yeah? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. So he looks quite shocked. And I just said to him, look, we're not here to give you a fine or anything else like that. It's nothing like that. I said, I just want to ask you some questions. I said, do you come down here often? So he says, every now and then. I said, every now and then. I said, okay. I says, and when you've come down here, so do you hear any strange situations, stories? Have you heard anything weird about this place or anything else like that? Even noises, anything? And he said, no. Now, this is the part, and I'm going to say it now, which makes this story absolutely ridiculous and ridicules it massively. And I'll say it to anybody, because what I'm about to say to you now is kind of been put into this in a way. And if I hear the whole story, it's kind of been put into this in a way. So I can't repeat it to anybody because nobody will believe me. Do you understand? Yeah. Okay, so I'll carry on. You'll understand. So he leans forward and I say to him, have you heard anything or seen anything odd? He leans forward and says to me, I've seen a lot of tossing. Now, we know what that is, yeah? Yeah. So this is obviously a guy that comes down this lane and sees some you know what I'm saying. He's doing dirty stuff down this lane, yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't think anything more of it. Didn't think any more of it. I said to him, I didn't mean that. Go on, bugger off on your way, so to speak, you know. And off he went and sat back in the car again. I said, bro, let the van up. Let's go back into this area. We go back into this area. Don't think anything of it. Don't think anything of it at all. We go back into this area and spend hours in there. We have an experience in there that is only audible, nothing more, just audible. We walked out at probably about 10 or 11 o'clock. We went home. We said our goodbyes and we went home. I went and did what I usually do all the tech stuff, bring everything through, store stuff, files, everything, what we've collated on that visit, on that site visit, and reported stuff, you know. Now, 2 weeks later, I said to my brother, we're going back into that area, that specific area there, we're going back in. He said, okay, I'll meet you there. Well, we meet just round the corner. We meet at a specific place, and then we'll just drive in. So this time, a couple of weeks later, we drive back into the lane, park the cars exactly where we parked before, and now everything's changed. Ben, the house on the left is completely disappeared. It is no longer there.
As in, it's been knocked down, or it's completely?
No, it's no longer there.
What did you make of this when you first? So it's definitely, so the house is completely gone. There's no foundations. There's no nothing.
Nothing at all. It's all been removed. Even the area behind it. We went and checked the area out behind it. Completely removed. So I said, whoa. No, this is a joke. Hold on a minute. We're in the wrong lane. We've got to be in the wrong lane. So we're having arguments. No, we've come from there. We've done the next left. We're in the lane. No, we're not in the lane. Something's wrong. We're not in the lane. So we spent 4.5 hours driving round to find the lane with the two houses on. It was never found. We then spoke to...
So just to clear a few things up. So you was in this area for a missing person report, is that right?
I'm interested in very similar things to what you guys do, yeah? But I'm also into, because of something I was involved in, which is child protection, is missing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
some stories in there, in this area, that brought to our attention, and we wanted to go in to see if this creature has any bearings or any connection to why this man and his dog disappeared, these children disappeared, this woman walked away, she disappeared. Why is all these people disappearing in this area? And nobody talks about it. It's all on hush hush. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so that's why I was in there, and was also in there to have a look, because we'd spoke to somebody else in regards to a creature being seen in this area. All right.
Yeah.
A creature over 10 foot tall being seen in this area.
Yeah.
We didn't expect to see on that day when we went in there, and given all the evidence that we got, it was overwhelming. It was ridiculous. We didn't expect that at all. And all the stuff that was collated from there, so there was like about 28 images, that was put on my computer, it was put on my brother's computer.
Can you go into detail about any of these images? Images of?
Footprints, all your arches, your crosses, all of that kind of stuff. Branches completely folded into knots. Huge kaplunk kind of like stuff I've never even experienced before. Like, it's just huge trees pushed into trees, just like, it's just no, you just can't. There is no way that you can pick these trees up and put them in the trees. There's just no way. There's no way you could get machinery in there. There's no way you could get anything in there to do the job.
This guy that was acting suspicious, did he resemble anyone? Was he like a Men in Black type figure? Was he a normal civilian in normal civilian clothing?
I work for the Home Office, Ben.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm licensed by the Home Office. I know MI5. I know a lot of things. I know a lot of people. I know who they employ and what personalities and characters that they look for to employ. Do you understand?
Yeah.
What he said ridiculed the whole thing. Now, this is really played a real headfuck on us. It's just ridiculous, because what we've done every time we've gone back in there, we do it every time, is we go back to see if the fucking house is still has been put back.
Yeah,
it's mental. It's absolutely mental. Now,
was that both houses as well? Because you said there was two houses.
No, just one house. Just one house. Like, the other house over the road is still there, but we've still not been able to get anybody in that property ever there. There's never a car there. We went there on Wednesday, just gone, to do a video and a report and say, this is where the house was. It's in between these. You can actually see there's a great big lump in the land which is missing, which is all grown over. Yeah. It's just mental. And it's not me making any of this up. It's my brother as well. We both experienced at exactly the same time. You could just leave this conversation now, pick the phone up with my brother, and he will tell you exactly the same thing. And every time we go back up there, the house is not back there. Now, on Wednesday, we went in the back behind the house, and it all presented back how it was. So now we need to go back into there and do another investigation back behind the house. Now, I spoke to Chris Turner about this and a few other people. Hopefully, Chris was going to put me into contact with somebody that I've heard of that exists, that deals with just all the freaky stuff that the military. Yes, time slip, kitchen skillet, well done, time slip. That's all that anybody said. That's all.
I was gonna ask you, Mark. I was gonna say, what is your overall reaction to this? What do you think happened on that day when you went back and there was no house there?
Fuck me head up. I wish I'd never even gone in there. I don't. It's really done my head in, because I now know that either I've been gifted something because of all the knowledge and stuff that I do know, and I'm kind of like a polymath, very much a polymath person, hold a lot of knowledge about free energy and lots of different things. I don't want to go into that anyway, but I don't understand why this has kind of happened. I have no idea. And every time I try to access it and go back in there, it's not the same. So we've kind of like gone in different areas, but it's broken things a little bit. It's kind of like, it boggles us really. I mean, I spoke to quite a few people. I'm about to speak to somebody else in the military, and
you're definitely taking the right steps. You're definitely taking the right steps. If you can send me any of your photos over to me on my email, 401.
I'll send you videos and all sorts. I mean, we have different areas now in this site over 6 years. We have different areas. We have strange things, in every area that we go into. We've got one area which is, I do believe, is very active. They line things up constantly all the time. We have somebody keep going in there and put in there's a white plastic bag in there, and somebody keeps going in there putting gifts in. Last time we went in there and discovered the bag, I mean, it's a fresh, brand new, white, clean bag in the middle of a woods, for God's sake, and somebody's put a log in it.
Yeah. No, Mark, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. It's been fascinating, and someone just said there in the comments, everybody needs to be able to share the story. It's amazing. We don't really get any stories like that. I mean, it's a mixture of everything going on. You've got cryptid reports. It's a constant thing. We can continue what we're doing because we're getting results in what we're doing. But I just wish I'd never gone on there on that day. So what we're doing now, February next year. Yeah, makes you question your own insanity. Thank you. Yeah, it does. We're going into there on that day next year to see if the house comes back. I'll keep you updated. I'll brilliant. Make sure you do. Make sure you do. So I'm going to have to bring this to an end.
Yeah, cool. Sorry, all I wanted to do was come on, because this is the only other opportunity I've had to be able to air this or talk to anybody about it. On this kind of platform. Yeah. And there must be somebody somewhere that's had a similar situation.
Yeah, and if anyone listening tonight has had a similar situation, I did read one comment up further back in the chat. Someone mentioned a house or something that they've had a similar experience. please do get in contact, and I'll maybe be able to connect you two somehow, because, you know, like, if this is one story that none of us have ever heard before, I'm sure that if there's another one out there that's had the same experience, you guys are onto something. This is definitely becoming a phenomenon where these things can reappear, disappear. And I've never heard of a house disappearing ever, I'll be honest. But that's absolutely
I
fascinating.
haven't before.
No,
I
that's
haven't
fascinating
before,
to me.
and I really hope it comes back.
Yeah. Me too. Well, thank you anyway, Mark.
No, thanks for
I'm going
your
to have to
time.
wrap this one up. And to all my guests as well, Mick McLaren, Mark Pennell, and the ones that have been waiting patiently in the back, I'm really sorry that we've not had a chance to get you on. We've now hit the hour mark, just a little over the hour mark, but it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You know, you've been really chatting away and talkative in there tonight, so that really does make a big difference with the algorithm, etc. If anybody got any stories they want to share with me, remember you can send them to 401files@gmail.com. Please join us on Discord. The link can be found in the description of this video after I stop this recording. And yeah, as always, guys, take it easy, stay safe wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining me. Until next Friday, when we're back again, hopefully with more stories. I'll see you all then. Take it easy, stay safe, look after yourselves.
Bye.